So welcome everybody to the what's the name of the podcast?
We don't officially know. We don't officially know. Because it's supposed to be tailgate talk. It's supposed to be.
You should use that as the intro. I hope you record that word like big turn his head. What's up, guys? Welcome to the what's the name of our podcast?
And then big letters. Yeah.
And then it like zooms out into our tailgate, and then it zooms out to tailgate talk. And how funny that'd be.
That would be funny. What's up, guys? I don't know why you said it like that.
Did you see him? He goes like this. He's like, "What's up, guys?"
Like a generic YouTube intro. Yeah.
So today we're gonna jump right into it, fellas. I think a fitting way to kind of kick things off will be to really kind of dive into last night's game.
That's fair.
I think there's a lot to digest with that particular game that took place. Starting off, I'm gonna lead off with Aaron Rodgers' injury. I think that he's
out for the season.
Yeah,
Achilles,
Achilles, yeah.
He's done for the season, and while it's a GG's for him. When you're up there in age, it gets hard to really stay healthy and to play that kind of football each and every Sunday and expect to stay healthy. So, I wish him the best and a speedy recovery, but
I just
can't say that I didn't see this coming.
Knowing his ego, though, he won't let that be the last time he touches the football field.
Probably.
Absolutely not.
Oh, he's coming back next year for sure.
Well, sure. Considering his ego, he's going to want to come back. But which team is going to roll the dice on him?
The Jets.
He's pushing 40.
He's
pushing 40. He's battled injury all throughout his career. There's no doubt that he's a great quarterback. But when you think about the body recovering from an Achilles tear when you're 37, 38 years old,
39.
What's the likelihood? Oh, 39. Excuse me. What's the likelihood of him really bouncing back and being the elite quarterback that everybody was expecting him to be?
Well, that's why I was saying Achilles tear back in the day. That was career-threatening, and now that's easier to recover from, especially with doctors having equipment. But at his age, I think it's still career-threatening.
Well, he's good. Okay. So I just looked it up. He's got 2 years left on his deal, this year and next year. I think he tries to come back and plays next year with the Jets, and that'll be his last season, regardless of what happens.
You don't think the Jets buy out his contract for them to pursue another either younger quarterback or develop Zach Wilson?
After we've seen Zach Wilson develop, I watched him last night. He did have some cool plays.
I watched him too. He does seem like a very inexperienced quarterback. He looks like someone who's been sitting on the bench, not doing a whole lot.
He started the last 2 years.
He's obviously got talent. He made it to the NFL, but I don't know if the Jets continue on with both of them. Really, I think I'm going to go back on what I said. I think they'd X out Zach Wilson and they'd bring in somebody else.
I don't know. I just see A-Rod coming back.
I don't know how far they develop Zach Wilson.
How far can they develop him?
To Dwight's point, he's been a starter for 2 years, and look what he's doing. I feel like Vince
hasn't really done much.
ball better than he can.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Feel like what?
Yeah, listen, we know Zach Wilson has some talent.
But let's talk about this year's Jets. How far do they make it without Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson at the helm? Let's just say they stay with Zach Wilson, no free agent quarterback, anything like that, no trades. They stay with Zach Wilson in that defense. How far do they go?
I want to say playoffs, but the problem is they have the Bills in the playoffs. They have the Dolphins in the playoffs. The Patriots, they beat them hands down. But, yeah, the Bills and the Dolphins are harder to beat.
No, absolutely.
They just beat the Bills with Zach Wilson.
They do not beat New England.
Yeah, I don't.
They just beat the Bills without Zach Wilson, just like I almost said. They just beat the Bills without Zach Wilson and that defense and special teams.
Have you seen
with Zach Wilson? Sorry.
But they barely beat the Bills, and that's with Josh Allen fumbling, 2-3 times. I don't think you're going to
Just once.
Josh Allen. Okay, it sounded from I didn't watch it.
He fumbled on 2 plays. He fumbled twice on 1 play.
He fumbled twice on 1 play. That's why I said 2 or 3 times. But yeah. So
well, it's
I don't
game
expect
one.
Josh Allen to do that
It
on
is
a
game
regular
1.
basis.
So a couple of things.
Game one, there's. Go ahead.
So one thing that I think it's important to kind of recognize is, Zach Wilson was 14 of 21 for 140 yards, touchdown and interception.
All dump offs though. Pretty much that whole game plan was quick passes and dump offs.
Yeah. Well, what did he play? 3 quarters? And
the whole game. Whole game basically.
Okay. To come in as a game manager, he's right there on par with Hurts and Zach Ertz. Not Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz.
Dak Prescott. I don't know. What am I thinking about as far as yardage and completions is concerned? And they came out and they ran the football for 127 yards.
Brees Hall was a beast. Dalvin Cook.
It's a pretty solid day on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Jets roster is really talented.
Oh, it's so stacked.
So everything around Zach Wilson is stacked, but it's just how well he can play.
They had offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. They have
not counting Brees Hall, who probably would have won rookie of the year if he wasn't injured.
Are we saying like Mark Brunell vibes?
Maybe.
Or what's that guy that played for the Ravens? Gosh, what is his name?
Dilfer.
Is he Trent Dilfer?
Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, is he Trent Dilfer this year?
I don't see them going to the Super Bowl, but I think a playoff spot is a possibility. They almost made the playoffs last year with Zach Wilson and Mike White at the helm, so it's possible.
I think they're a 500 team. I think they get knocked out by any of the teams in their conference. The Bills they're a strong team. It's game 1. Everyone's nervous. Everyone's shaky. Kind of got to knock the dust off the boots. New England, they played against the Eagles. The Eagles are the number 1 or number 2 team in the entire NFL. They've got a solid offense. They got a solid defense. They're well coached.
Did you say New England?
With each other for a while.
Yeah, that's right.
So New England played a good Eagles team, and they held their own against the Eagles. And the Eagles are far better than the Jets. The Dolphins, I don't see them beating the Dolphins either with that 3-headed monster they have between Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle. They got speed kills all over the field. They can hit them anywhere they want, and then go.
And they're without Ramsey right now too.
And exactly, they're without Ramsey. And who's their best receiver? Garrett Wilson. They put Ramsey on him. Is Garrett doing a whole lot?
Garrett is a stud, but not with Zach Wilson. He just doesn't push the ball down the field.
I agree, and that's why I think they're a 500 team. I think they missed the playoffs. I think that
that's fair. That's fair.
It's gone from the AFC least back to the AFC East, as what Skip Bayless would say. It's a solid division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we'll see in a few weeks because Patriots schedule.
I think I will. Go ahead.
Well, next 2 games are division games. They play the Dolphins and then the Jets.
Should we worry about the Bills though? Or you think it's just a week 1 rust game?
I think it's one of those week 1 rust games. I think it was really good. I think it's a rust game. Just Josh Allen getting back in everything because their defense looked good. Stephon Diggs was torching dudes. Josh Allen.
He was cooking sauce a lot too.
He needs to not put so much air under the ball, trying to fill out. Because from season to season, not everybody's going to have the same speed. So for example, if me and Big are throwing the ball to each other, we're used to a certain speed. You take time off, you go back into it. Maybe one of us got faster, one of us got slower, vice versa. There's a lot of key changes that that really come in season to season, and I think that was a game of feeling out those changes and understanding each other again.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I think one positive for the Bills, man, that run game. James Cook looked really good. I know Elmo and Vince didn't watch it, but James Cook looked really good. And the Bills have struggled with the run game the past 3 years, it seems like. So hopefully they get some consistency with James Cook would be sweet.
James Cook, he can catch. He ran really good routes. He runs. He's a tough runner. He puts his head down. He's not afraid of contact. He's not one of those tippy-toe, let me run away from you type running backs. He knows when to get out of bounds. He knows when to go down. I thought he had a very good football IQ yesterday when it came to to his role on that Bills offense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's move along. And Dwight, I know you said you had some topics from week 1 that you wanted to revisit. What's on your mind?
I want to look at the rookie quarterbacks. Only 3 of the 4 big guys kind of started. I just wanted to kind of get your guys' idea on who you think had the best week 1. I do have some of the stats if you want me to just kind of list them off. But I'm just a little curious how you guys felt about them.
So I only watched
The Ravens,
CJ
yeah.
Stroud
I'm right
play.
there with you.
I watched CJ Stroud and the Ravens. The Ravens, they're a top 3 team every year. Their defense has been striking fear in offenses since 2000. 23 years they've been playing. Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. And CJ Stroud came out as a rookie. He didn't make any critical errors. Sure, he didn't throw any touchdowns, but he completed 28 out of 44 passes for over 200 yards and rushed for almost 40. I believe it was 44 yards. He started gaining confidence with Robert Woods in the seam and with crossers. He was able to hit Nico Collins pretty regularly. He's a big target. I think CJ had a very good day. And I think over the next 2-3 weeks, we're really going to see him develop into a more elite role when it comes to the AFC South and playing for the Texans. I was impressed with CJ. He did very well. Like I said, no critical mistakes.
There you go. Did anybody else?
I only watched,
go ahead. You're good. You're
I
good.
only watched Anthony Richardson and the Colts. Up until the 4th quarter, he didn't have any mistakes, no interceptions up until the 4th quarter. He had 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing. Like I said, I was thinking the whole game, like, this guy hasn't made any critical mistakes until the 4th quarter.
That was on you. You jinxed it.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. The only thing I did not like, other than last minute 4th quarter interception, was he was trying to run guys over. Like quarterbacks, yes, you're 6'4", you're 250 pounds. He was trying to truck dudes. But we've seen that so many times of quarterbacks that could run, trying to run for big yards, big plays, not going down. And then what happens? They get injured and it just demoralizes their career.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think the performance that stood out to me, or I guess better word would be lack thereof, is the Bryce Young performance.
Absolutely.
He averaged about 7 yards, a completion, completing about 20. The guy was slinging the ball. I mean, 38 attempts for a rookie is a lot. 146 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions at a 7-yard per clip. I don't think his coaches did him any justice of putting him out there and then putting him in those situations and causing him to have to really try to carry this team. And I think that was a big reason why they were pretty much they were handled on Sunday.
Right.
And it looks like they ran the ball well, averaging about well over 4 yards a carry with the running back, the 2-headed monsters they had with Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard.
I don't know about 2-headed monster, but I get you.
Well, I mean, listen, Chuba Hubbard averaged 6.7 yards a carry, and Miles Sanders was at 4.0.
So 4.
I don't know. I mean, listen, that could be the highest average, per touch, going, coming out of week 1. So I think that they had the tools that they needed. I just think that maybe they didn't make plays when necessary, but to make your rookie quarterback, have to try to carry a team against a veteran team like the Falcons was not. I don't think the coaches helped them out there, and I would have to say that if I had to say dud or stud, I'm going to say dud.
I would have to agree with that.
Dud or stud, I like that.
Keep in mind, he got drafted from an amazing Alabama Roll Tide organization. The way Nick Saban orchestrates the entire team from top to bottom, he's used to having talent all around him. Not to say that guys in the NFL aren't talented, and I know this isn't quite an apples to apples comparison, but when you look at the team camaraderie, and you look at everybody around him, he's used to having those dependable guys. Now he's moving into a higher level of play, and the guys around him, I don't think he's playing with guys that are at the highest level in their position like he was with Alabama. I do think there's going to be I think there's going to be a major learning curve. I think there needs to be a step up in every single role when it comes to Carolina's organization if Bryce is going to be successful.
That's true. It's growing pains. So are we all in agreement that Bryce Young had the worst performance of Week 1?
Yeah,
I agree.
Oh yeah.
You think he bounces back on the season?
Well,
I feel like it gets better.
Mm-hmm. We hope
once he progresses through the season, but
out of those three guys,
becomes, like franchise quarterback at the end of the season.
But that's really bad for a guy you draft at number 1.
Yeah, I don't think Bryce was NFL ready. I think what they should have done is they should have drafted him. I don't think he was. I think maybe he should. He definitely needs to spend more time with a veteran quarterback.
Who's the Panthers' best receiver?
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go.
it was Miles Sanders in Week 1.
I think he has the worst targets to throw to out of the rookies. Honestly, I think his as far as targets go, he does have the worst.
Well, yeah, Adam Thielen.
Oh, he does have Adam Thielen. That is true.
Yeah,
good pull.
He has Adam Thielen. So he does have a veteran guy who's used to. Adam Thielen. He had some solid quarterbacks throwing the ball to him, and I think maybe he needs to work on his quarterback wide receiver dynamics.
Solid. Okay.
Him.
Well, I'm going to say that
Case Keenum and Kirk Cousins.
It's going to get a
Kirk Cousins had a great year last year, though.
You can laugh at the Kirk Cousins argument, but Kirk Cousins, he's kind of an under the radar elite quarterback. Time and time again.
If he was an elite quarterback, they'd be going higher every year. I don't know.
I think it's an organizational thing because if you put blind stats up there, he's up there with the top guys.
But you can't always go by blind stats. That doesn't help some people's cases.
You're right. You can't, but an individual. If we're comparing quarterback to quarterbacks,
you want to talk about targets the past couple of years. Kirk Cousins has some of the best ones.
Absolutely, but I don't want to stray too far in that direction.
That's true.
I did want to bring up some key points with C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, he did finish the game throwing for 242 yards. He completed 63.5% of his passes.
63.6, yeah.
The only turnover that did occur in that game was a strip sack due to a depleted, injured offensive line. But in his defense, the O-line, it's not the starting O-line. They basically
I think
ran out to the
I do feel like he took too long though. I feel like he wasn't as decisive as he should have been. Obviously he's a rookie, so that'll come with time, but I feel like he was taking too long to make decisions.
I completely disagree. I think he surveyed the field, and when he threw the ball, he threw with conviction.
Because I feel like our pass rush is real bad. Other than Jadeveon getting free rushes.
Well, he registered an evaluation score of 55.2, which is the highest out of all of the rookie quarterbacks. Again, it was a very tough assignment playing against Baltimore.
Without our top corner and our top safety.
I just, under duress, he had a 40.4 passing grade, which, he was under pressure a lot. And, Clowney, that's...
Don't get me wrong, he played good. I just feel like that was the one thing I seen from him that he needs to get better at.
I think the only thing that stood out to me with the C.J. Stroud was the overthrows were very noticeable.
That is true.
Yes,
that is true.
He did have, he was under duress. I think if he cleans that up, he's going to be a excellent quarterback, and he's going to continue to grow and progress. Reminds me of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts used to airmail, a lot of passes, and the last 2 seasons he's just learned to kind of drop it in a bucket. Every pass isn't going to be perfect, but I think once he gets that down, he's going to progress nicely. And that was the only thing that stood out to me in that game. It was a hard-fought game. The first half was very, very competitive, and
yes.
I thought that it was a chance. They had that the quarterback for the Ravens, was on the run at some point. He was running for his life. I was kind of nervous for him because he just came off an injury, but I'm glad everybody came out healthy.
Oh no, you can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say that.
Yeah, well, except for the running back.
No. So JK's out for the season. Marcus Williams is out for half the season. Ronnie Stanley's out for an extended amount of time, and there was another guy that got hurt. We just lost 4 starters.
I guess
Jalen Petry's out for a little bit.
And then Texans lost. Texans lost Jalen Petrie.
I guess I should have said that Lamar came out.
Lamar didn't come out healthy, but our team definitely didn't come out healthy that game. Who else got hurt? Somebody else got hurt that I'm missing, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, the weather was so bad, here on the East Coast, and it was pretty bad. So I'm,
Mm-hmm.
even the Eagles, had lost starting middle line, but they lost starting middle linebacker at the end of last preseason game, and then they lost the second starter in that game against the Patriots. And these guys are blowing out these Achilles, like it's going out of style. So I don't know what's.
Oh, sorry. We should probably answer. I guess we never really finished answering the question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Elmo.
I was just saying it's that turf.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, but I was gonna say we should probably answer that question. Who do you guys think had the best Week 1 performance?
Anthony
Out of the
Richardson.
rookies, CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
by
out of the
far,
rookies.
The numbers don't lie.
CJ Stroud too.
Again, I didn't get to watch any Anthony Richardson, so I'll also go with CJ Stroud.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was close between Anthony Richardson and
I don't really
Stroud.
watch any
I
of those.
just-
Mm-hmm.
Other than him looking to run too much, and obviously a fourth.
Well, he's using what God gave him.
Yeah.
God gave him.
So just for
Me-
stat purposes, CJ Stroud got a grade of 55.2. Anthony Richardson comes in second with a grade of 49.3, while Bryce Young comes in at a 31.4
That's about right.
to end the rookie debut.
That's fair.
The proof is in the
That's
pudding.
not the list they going.
Yeah.
I was going to say one thing. So Anthony Richardson had 2 touchdowns. That's one thing, though. You said Stroud didn't score, correct?
No touchdowns.
He didn't score, but
See this homer? Do y'all see this homer? He keeps wanting to talk about.
I'm trying to answer the question. I'm just saying, but yeah, when you said, sorry, trying to think of his name, Bryce Young wasn't NFL already. Like me and Dwight, we've talked. We think he was the most NFL.
I thought he was the most NFL already.
Oh, I completely.
I thought Stroud was the most poised, but I thought
They
Bryce Young
all
was the
were
most
high
NFL
draft
already.
picks, so they all went to really bad teams, obviously. But I think Young went to the worst team, obviously, given
Yeah, of
we
course.
talked about the targets. Like, yeah, like I'm sorry, trying to think of Stroud and his targets. The
Robert
white-
Woods. Robert Woods. Every
Woods,
third down. Robert
Woods.
Woods. Every third down. I have nightmares of Robert Woods on third down now.
But yeah,
Every
anyway,
third down.
Yeah,
So
and Anthony Richardson, Michael Pittman played very well. Jonathan Taylor didn't even play, and they almost won that game.
Almost.
Yeah, they have us. Yeah, they have 6'5" Alec. Michael Pittman 6'5", Alec Pierce 6'4". Woods is injured. He's 6'7". That's not even. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor didn't even play. Yeah,
I'm
the
excited
thing
for week
is-
2 then. This is going to be a big week 2.
Like I said, the
if
thing
Yes,
that bothered me is him looking to run. He tried to run 10 times and averaged
Yes,
4 yards.
week 2 is going to be good. It's Stroud versus Richardson.
Mhm.
I'm going to be at the game on Sunday, so I'll be able to take videos.
Let's fly. Let's fly Vince over. You guys can start fighting in the stands.
But I think I think Robert Woods was a great addition to the Texans organization. At first, I wasn't too sure about it, but having a veteran guy like that who's reliable. I don't know if y'all recall, but a few years ago, he was up there with Cooper Kupp when it came to fantasy football points. If Matt,
towards ACL.
who was Jared Goff, right? If he wasn't
Yeah,
hitting Cooper
yeah.
Kupp, he was
Yeah.
hitting Robert Woods. It was 30-40 points a player, and he kind of fell off a little bit. But I kind of feel like him being with the Texans, being with that young quarterback, they really started building that
No, he showed out.
connection on Sunday.
No doubt.
And I think they're both going to be good for each other's careers. So I'm really glad that we have a veteran guy like Robert Woods in the organization.
Cool.
So I think that of the three quarterbacks, these three rookie quarterbacks, while I think that CJ Stroud had the best performance, I gotta say the ceiling for these guys, I'm gonna have to say that maybe Richardson has the highest ceiling, not because of the talent, but because he has the offensive coaching that I think that is going to allow him to progress a little bit faster than the other guys. And if you look at, say, CJ Stroud over there in Houston, assuming they continue to invest in the offense, he'll be fine. And they get weapons and they build around him. It'll be a great organization. But we all seen this before. Defensive coaches want defensive players.
Mm-hmm.
And that
That's
is
what I
the
was
one
gonna
thing
say, too.
that I'm concerned about with CJ Stroud there. Now, if they build a defense like the Ravens of years past, where they didn't have to have a great quarterback, their defense was killing everybody.
Don't mess
CJ
with
would be
Joe.
just fine, But that's the one concern that I have, and I believe the same issue can potentially happen down there in Carolina. So I'm not just singling out Houston. That is one thing that I am concerned with.
So even though our head coach D'Amico Ryans, all pro linebacker, is very defensive minded, our defensive coordinator is Matt Berg, which he played offensive line. I think having that. I think having an offensive who played offensively with playing coaching defense, I think it brings a lot of strengths to where maybe D'Amico Ryans might listen to him a little bit on which direction when it goes, where they need to go with the offense. So I don't think we're going to get too hung up on the defense. Our defense looks great. I think we can all agree that the Texans defense, they showed up. They absolutely showed up on Sunday. And it came down to discipline at the end of the game because, to your point earlier, it was neck and neck. It was 6-7 going in the half, but I don't feel that we're going to stray too far to the defense just because how good our defense is looking.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up. Like I said, Rice went to the worst team, and then guys gonna run up coaching too. Excuse me, I don't remember the coach's name that we just got. I know it was the Eagles' old OC, but when you look back of his coaching record, he coached Phillips last year and on the Chargers, and he had a very good year. They went to the playoffs. Then he coached Herbert his second year, and Herbert improved dramatically. Then he coached Hurts his second year, and he almost won the MVP. Probably would have if he didn't get injured. So he's had a very good record coaching quarterbacks. So that helps a lot too.
Okay, that's a good point. To be
Look at
specific,
Vince with the pool.
he was not the he was not the quarterback coach. He was the offensive coordinator, and I think that really, you see the progression of the offense. I mean, Anthony Richardson almost threw for what? He almost pretty much matched the stat line with Trevor Lawrence, who's an excellent quarterback. So
With way more targets.
yeah. So he did a great job, and I was impressed with the young man's performance. I still thought that CJ threw the ball better and more accurately. And again, he wasn't playing Anthony Richardson wasn't playing in a monsoon either. So
That's
so
true.
I mean, the CJ he played well. He missed some passes. I know it was
that
better.
AC and Lucas Oil gets hot, man.
Yeah.
I would also like to bring up the point with CJ that Dwight and I watched it. When CJ runs, he runs to throw. He runs to get the ball out. Whereas Anthony Richardson, he is a Cam Newton prototype quarterback. He runs to run. I see him getting hurt.
That's why I brought it up. He looked to run way too much. I said he ran 10 times. He averaged 4 yards. But he was also trying to truck dudes instead of go down. He's like, I'm 250. I don't care. I'm 6'4", 250 pounds. I don't care. He gets hit in the knees. He's done. I don't care how big
I mean,
you are.
I'm going to be honest. He got the weight to do it. I see Josh Allen do it every week. Josh Allen's been fine.
Josh Allen does do it every week.
I don't know. He's got the weight to back it up. He'd do whatever.
Do you guys see the contract Jalen Hurts got? Now that guy was diving on the ground.
I bet. But I mean, he's got the guaranteed movie. He doesn't need to. He can do whatever he wants. He got guaranteed money now too.
He actually tried to truck 2 guys on one play, and he actually fought forward for 2 yards, maybe 3. Tried to truck 2 dudes. That I didn't like that, but it's impressive.
So I think we all watched it. I would like to, next segment moving forward, I'd like to wrap this up, and I think bring up the discussion of Dallas and New York game, the Giants and the Cowboys. There was a little bit of texting going back and forth, and I think everybody saw something maybe a little bit different. I think we've all got a little bit. I think we've all got a difference of opinions on what happened there. So, do we have anything else that we want to discuss with these rookies?
Yeah, just who do you guys see having the best season, and then we can move on.
I've got to go with my boy CJ Stroud.
Surprisingly, I think depending on the Jonathan Taylor thing, could very well be Stroud, but I see it between Stroud and Anthony Richardson.
I'm gonna go Stroud
because Ant is such a wild card, and again, we talked about his coach, the new coach they brought in.
No, you got any?
But it's such a wild card, tough card. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I want to see what Elmo said.
I want to say probably Shroud is probably the better of the 3.
Okay.
But I mean, you can't really after week 1. I mean, you can't really put
it's tough.
a pin on who's the best of the season until until you get halfway through the season.
Well, that's why I was saying who do you see having the best season?
I'll probably say C.J. Stroud has a better season of the 3 of them.
Okay. I'm gonna go Ant if Jonathan Taylor comes back. Because I agree with Big. I think as far as head coaching and OC goes, he's got the most around him.
I said that, but yeah.
Somebody said it, and I agree.
Speaking of which,
I agree.
What are we gonna do with names, by the way? Because you've called me Vince a couple times. For anyone who's watching, if they don't know us, my name is not Vince in real life. It has nothing to do with me. It's just my username on Xbox. It's what everyone knows me by.
That's what we're calling you.
No. And then there's Elmo, obviously. That's not his actual name.
No, Elmo goes by Elmo with everything. He's Elmo. That dude's on his that's on his government ID. No, it's not. You imagine?
He's at the airport. They're like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Elmo, boy."
Yeah, pretty much. No, I think we're good though.
So to answer the kind gentleman, the Texans question, I thought that there was some, I need to pull up the stats of the game, but I thought that the Giants did not show up to play football. They looked like
clearly
a penny football team. I think weather had a lot to do with it. I thought that the coaching, they didn't look prepared. They were flat. I thought weather was very, very impactful in the game. I thought that the coaches did not help them, and with that game plan, and you know what, Dallas capitalized. I mean, there was turnovers. It seemed like every time I turned around, it was a different turnover. Balls just flying all over the place.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a block kick. There was a pass to Saquon Barkley, who's, I'm sorry, he's not a receiver to me, but he has made some amazing passes catches in the pass game and in the past. But I don't think that's his forte. But needless to say, he got two hands on that ball. You got to squeeze that ball, and the ball popped up and it went for 6. I believe later on, I think Gilmore in that game also got a turnover in a very, very similar way. And credit to Dallas, they were able to catch the football. You know, maybe not offensively, but they were on defense. The guys,
Oh yeah.
they caught those balls and pause and and they made New York pay for it. So again, I think that it was a combination of things. I don't think that Dallas played particularly well offensively. Listen, if you remove some of those turnovers, I mean, neither offense was lighting things up.
Dak didn't do a damn thing. I think all the rookie quarterbacks played better than Dak did.
Probably. Well, I don't know. Bryce Young. I don't know. But yeah, no, it was close.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, it was raining. It was raining cats and dogs, and credit to the Cowboys.
You like to see the Giants run better, though.
They ran the football. When they really, I guess they realized, hey, Dak ain't going to be it. They start running the football, and Tony Pollard had a big game.
Mm-hmm.
So do we think Dallas's defense is as elite as they showed on Sunday night?
I don't know how you can't think it wasn't at least top 3.
If I had to rank them from week 1, I'm going to say top 3. But I will say this, and this is going to be controversial. You know what? I did not see the 49er game. So
that's right. I didn't see that either.
I'm going to say, with the exception, not including the 49ers, that Patriot defense is going to be different this year. Holy cow, those guys are fast.
Yes, the adjustments they made.
I didn't watch the Patriots game. I don't know.
The Patriots game started off with the Eagles just manhandling. I mean, offensive line just.
We can talk about the Eagles and the Niners later.
It's like in the movie 300 when they charged at the Spartans, and the Spartans, they put up their shield and they pushed them off that cliff. That is what the Eagles were doing to the Patriots in the very beginning of the game. When you start getting into the second quarter, you started seeing a huge shift in that Patriots defense. That Patriots defense was like, okay, we're not getting pushed off this cliff no more. We're going to fight back. And they definitely brought it. I 100% agree with you, Big.
I think that if the Eagles, I don't think the Eagles, how can I say this? Because this is going to sound kind of weird. I think the Eagles play big boy football in a lot of cases. But I think that they do it out of a single back set and shotgun. And, if the Eagles was a lineup with a fullback and 2 tight ends, I think they would have continued to push them off a cliff. But the style of ball that they play with these zone reads, the Patriots is just absolutely too fast for that. And you saw their speed come alive, and that guy Christian was just chasing Hurts all over.
Yes.
Yeah. Gonzalez got pressure.
Hey, he got a sack and everything. He was just.
I didn't get to see it, unfortunately, but yeah, I expected the Patriots to get absolutely whooped, and I was just following the score. I saw they quickly went up 17-0. I'm like, yep, it's a blowout. And then that's all they got for the rest of the game, if I'm not wrong.
Well, I mean, it was an interesting game in the sense that, the Patriots came out sort of like the Giants, and they ran a really, really, I'm going to say it, they ran a stupid offense. Yes, and there was mistakes made. They came out in a storm, a monsoon, and they're in 5 wide. Look like they're trying to play Madden, and I'm saying to myself, what's happening here? And, the Eagles ran the ball probably 20 times on the first drive. So, I don't know what they were expecting, and I don't think that Mac Jones, I didn't think prior to watching that game that Mac Jones was a guy that can throw the ball 50 times a game. But he did surprise me, and, when they adjusted to what the Eagles were doing because the Eagles were playing a lot of man coverage. They started running a lot of rub routes. They started running a lot of corners, and and they were getting matchups. Running Juju underneath and kind of like they were doing things that got their receivers open, and he was making some of the passes that he needed to make. When the Eagles went to zone coverage in the second half, the Patriots didn't really do much after that because I think it caused Mac Jones to have to make a fast decision. But when they were in man coverage, they started absolutely destroying the Eagles, especially when it stopped raining. So it became a very good game, and defensively, again, I mean the way they flowed to the football. That Bentley guy, I don't even think I've heard of his name.
Jawan Bentley.
Jawan Bentley,
Bentley, Christian Gonzalez, even it was a Judon. I mean, those guys.
Jack Jones, he's still looking,
Yeah, I mean those guys were, absolutely just flying into the football, and it was plays where Hurts had, he had
Duggar.
plays open and he didn't make the throw either. So, it was an interesting game, and it played out like I thought it would have. They should have put the Patriots away earlier in that fourth quarter, but Hurts fumbled the ball, which Mac Jones got 2 chances in the third. And didn't do anything with it, and they went for it twice and got stopped. That just absolutely baffled me. I don't know what Bill Belichick was thinking there. So
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It definitely was a game where the Eagles were saying, "Hey, they were acting like they didn't want it at the end." So, but they stood up, and they made some plays, and they ended up sacking that guy a couple times towards the end of the game. So. Jalen Carter got into the mix, and that guy is amazingly strong. Holy cow.
Yes.
My favorite prospect in the draft. Second favorite prospect.
Jalen Carter, he definitely showed out. He showed that he's going to be a generational talent for the Eagles. I think he showed his value. He showed his value in that game, 100%, absolutely.
Well, the one thing that stood out in that game, they had Ramondre Stevenson and Zeke Elliott.
15.
Yes. And those guys against Jordan Davis, like you said, Carter, Cox.
In the first half, they had like 3 rushing yards.
Yes, and I'm glad you bring that up, is because there's always been this debate of how great Ezekiel Elliott is. Ezekiel Elliott is now on a well-coached team. Where was he? It seems like he was at Burger King eating cheeseburgers. He didn't show up for the game.
He also turned the ball over too.
Yes,
yeah,
he did. He fumbled. He hadn't fumbled in 2-3 years.
I don't think anybody's arguing Zeke has been great. At least these 5 out of us 5. I don't think any of us are arguing.
I bet EA give him a team of the week tomorrow.
They might.
They're trying to bring Mutt into the podcast, but
so there is a bit of an elephant in the room that we have not brought up yet. Chiefs and Lions.
No. I think there's a bigger elephant in the room that we will talk about, I'm sure. The Bengals and the Browns. I think that's a bigger elephant.
Yes. Joe Burrow just got paid. What's going on? He decided to go on vacation or what?
As long as he goes on vacation next week too, I'll be fine with it.
That's pretty funny.
I expected a lot more out of both teams. I've got Nick Chubb on my fantasy. He did show up.
I don't think the Chiefs is anything to worry about, honestly. I don't.
He played well, but the Bengals, they've been a top team for the last 2 years, and it almost seems like they're right back into 2014 form when they were
18.
They were terrible,
even earlier.
early 2000s Bengals. I mean, what happened there? What was Joe Burrow doing? Do you think his injury had anything to do with it? Are they kind of getting too high and mighty about themselves, coming in thinking, oh, we got the Browns, this is a walk in the park? Because there's a huge, there's a video surfacing on the internet of Myles Garrett walking up to the line, practicing his basketball crossover, and just dominating the center.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna ask. Like I said, I honestly failed coming to this podcast, not watching enough football.
Just
so
do better
I
week
actually
2,
know what
Vince.
I'm
It's whatever.
talking about, but I was gonna say, what's the Bengals line like? They lost Whitworth. He retired.
They signed Orlando. They signed Orlando Brown.
Wait. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Did you really ask that as a serious question?
I don't know what their line is. Yeah.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Do you recall when they were in the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago?
Mm-hmm.
They
Good
didn't
point.
have Andrew Woodworth. He was on IR.
That's a good point.
The offensive line was absolutely disgusting then. Okay.
Yes.
Last season in the NFC Championship game, do you remember Joe Burrow absolutely running for his life the entire game?
I remember Patrick Mahomes running for his life against the Buccaneers, but
Well, Patrick Mahomes.
That was true.
Yes, that was the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Patrick Mahomes beat 3 teams with no leg apparently last season,
Yeah, he was with a half an ankle.
including the Eagles. So, and then the Eagles didn't sack him one time, maybe once. So, listen, we're not even talking about him. He's a whole different animal. But Joe Burrow was absolutely under duress in every game. So it does not. Does this surprise you that he doesn't have an O-line this year?
I'd say his O-line's
Absolutely
better
not.
this year than it is the last 2.
But I'm just wondering if that was a factor in the game.
Oh, it's absolutely was a factor. It's
Okay.
always a factor.
Against Miles
So-
Garrett
so
to Darius Smith, yeah. It definitely could have been.
I do want to go over some things with Joe Burrow. So if we look back at 9/11, 2022 against the Steelers, Joe Burrow had a completion percentage of 62.3%. He threw for 338 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not ideal. He was sacked 7 times with a QBR of it was a low 67.3.
That's because of the interceptions.
But when we look into this next year, let me see if I can bring it back up. So we look at the game over the weekend. He threw 82 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 2 sacks with a completion percentage of 45.2%.
14 of 31. That is absolutely abysmal.
You're talking about the 80, yeah.
82 passing yards, and they paid him what, $200 and something million?
Highest paid quarterback in the league.
Like, you know what he did? He put on a black ski mask and walked into the bank and walked out. That's what happened.
I don't know.
Exactly what he did.
I'm sure they'll bounce back against the Ravens because that's my luck.
Vikings and Eagles. Who we got?
We still got stuff. We can well, like Big said, we can still talk about week 1 stuff and just do this kind of stuff tomorrow. But if you want to talk about the Eagles and Vikings, I'm going Eagles.
I'm going Eagles.
Going Eagles.
Eagles are at home. I
Eagles
believe.
will.
There's a clean sweep for the Eagles. That's not good. That's not. That can't be good.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the problem, like, against the Patriots that I was worried about. We talked about the rush yards. What are they going to do against Jordan Davis, Carter, Fletcher Cox?
Vince, they're not going to run the football.
They're gonna pass the ball.
They're not gonna run the football.
Yeah, but they have Slay. All you have to do is double cover. Well, not all you have to do. It's not like he's the only threat, but
Not
Yeah.
Jalen Rieger. Whoa, wrong person. Jordan Addison had a great week 1.